了。
切吧。
In the imperial palaces of ancient China, there lived a special group of people, eunuchs. They were not allowed to marry and have children, and they served the imperial family for their entire lives. However, they might also hold great power and rewrite history. Their stories were filled with blood, tears, intrigues, and amazing legends. By understanding the eunuch system, we can gain insights into the true nature of ancient Chinese imperial power. The origin of eunuchs in China was closely linked to an extremely harsh punishment in ancient times. Dating back to the Shang and Zhou dynasties, there was a punishment called a castration, a gongxing. The execution method was very cruel. The executioner would use a sharp knife to mercilessly remove a man's genitals. A castration was a form of punishment established in the Zhou dynasty for those who committed rebellion or adultery. Besides those who were castrated for breaking the law, their family members might also be forced to be castrated and sent to the palace, becoming part of the eunuch group. This was the earliest source of eunuchs in Chinese history. In addition, the eunuch group also came from poor families at the bottom of society at that time. In ancient China, poverty was an insurmountable chasm. When survival was at stake, some people would seek a way out. Poor families, in order to ensure their children had enough to eat and escape hunger and poverty, sometimes reluctantly sent young boys to the palace to become eunuchs. The process of castration was undoubtedly a cruel and painful ordeal. The castration work was usually carried out by specialized institutions or experienced masters. However, the entire process often took place in extremely simple and unhygienic environments. Those being castrated had to endure indescribable pain, and postoperative complications such as infections constantly threatened their lives. Many people passed out on the spot due to the unbearable pain during the castration process, and quite a few people unfortunately lost their lives due to infections and other reasons after the operation. This process left indelible physical scars on eunuchs and also caused a heavy blow to their hearts. Those who survived were then sent to the palace to take on arduous manual labor. Ancient rulers made such arrangements because they believed that these castrated people could not reproduce and would not pose a so-called safety threat to the concubines in the harem, so they could be trusted to serve in the palace. After entering the palace, eunuchs could not immediately take on important responsibilities. Instead, they had to go through a series of strict selection and training processes. The selection criteria covered many key aspects such as age, physical condition, and intelligence level. Generally speaking, younger eunuchs were more likely to adapt to the various rules and requirements of palace life and were more convenient to receive systematic training because their minds were not fully developed. At the beginning of entering the palace, they first had to receive comprehensive and detailed etiquette training. Every detail, from how to walk gracefully, stand properly, to perform rituals accurately and standardly in the palace, had to be practiced repeatedly to achieve perfection, so as to fully display the majesty and solemnity of the royal family. At the same time, they also had to learn some basic cultural knowledge, including reading, writing, and arithmetic, so that they could understand and execute the complex task instructions in the palace. In addition, according to the different institutions they were assigned to, they also needed to receive targeted professional skills training. For example, eunuchs working in the imperial kitchen had to study cooking skills carefully and master the production methods of various delicious dishes. While eunuchs assigned to the Secretariat of Rites, 司礼监, had to learn how to handle official documents, interpret government decrees, and other related knowledge and skills. After a long time of arduous training and careful cultivation, they could gradually adapt to the rhythm of palace life and perform their duties proficiently and efficiently. With the passage of time, the eunuch system in China underwent numerous changes and developments during the different dynasties. During the Qin dynasty, eunuchs began to emerge on the stage of palace affairs. Although their power had not yet expanded wantonly at that time, a relatively stable management model was gradually established, laying the foundation for subsequent development. In the Han Dynasty, the scale of the eunuch group expanded significantly, and their division of labor became more refined. They were no longer limited to performing trivial tasks such as palace chores but began to cautiously set foot in the political field, and their figures gradually appeared faintly in the imperial court. During the Sui and Tang dynasties, the eunuch system witnessed major changes. The eunuch institutions began to expand rapidly, becoming extremely large in scale, and their power also began to grow. Some eunuchs deeply favored by the emperor could even participate in important decision-making processes related to the fate of the country, such as military and diplomatic affairs, showing great influence. However, in the late Tang dynasty, the excessive expansion of eunuch power led to serious political chaos and brought heavy disasters to the country. In the Song dynasty, the rulers learned from the painful lessons of the Tang dynasty and implemented extremely strict restrictive measures on eunuch power. Through a series of institutional designs, the activities of eunuchs were firmly restricted, greatly weakening their influence on the political stage and gradually relegating them to a relatively marginal position. During the Ming and Qing dynasties, the eunuch system reached its peak. At the beginning of the establishment of the Ming dynasty, the founding emperor, Zhu Yuanzhang, carefully constructed a huge and complex eunuch institution system. The most representative one was the 24 yamen, 24 yamen, which consisted of 12 directorates, 12 jian, 4 offices, 4 si, and 8 bureaus, 8 ju. These institutions had clear and detailed divisions of labor, like a precisely operating machine, covering every corner of palace life. From the daily life of the royal family, such as food, clothing, and shelter, to the construction and renovation of palace buildings and the management of financial revenues and expenditures, there were eunuchs in charge of each task. At the same time, eunuchs began to play a crucial role in national affairs. The eunuch in charge of the seal of the Secretariat of Rites, held great power and was the core of power. He was responsible for the important link of verifying and endorsing imperial edicts, pihong, having a huge influence on the government affairs of the imperial court. He balanced the power of drafting proposals, piaoniquan, of the Grand Secretariat and was actually deeply involved in the core decision-making process of national affairs. In the Qing dynasty, the rulers basically continued the eunuch system of the Ming dynasty. However, to prevent the recurrence of eunuch interference in politics as in the Ming dynasty, a series of reform and innovation measures were carried out, and stricter control and management of eunuch power were implemented to ensure that the imperial power was not eroded or interfered by eunuch power. In Chinese history, many powerful and notorious eunuchs emerged in different dynasties. Zhao Gao in the Qin dynasty, with his cunning and extreme greed for power, secretly colluded with Prime Minister Li Si after the death of Emperor Qin Shi Huang. They forged the imperial edict and supported the incompetent Hu Hai to the throne. After that, Zhao Gao monopolized the power of the imperial court, doing whatever he pleased. He even staged the absurd farce of calling a stag a horse, 指鹿为马, blatantly challenging the authority and justice of the imperial court, and vigorously eliminating dissidents, throwing the imperial court of the Qin dynasty into chaos and accelerating the process of the Qin dynasty's demise. During the Eastern Han dynasty, the 10 regular attendants, Shi Changshi, led by Zhang Rang and Zhao Zhong, controlled the government. They formed cliques, colluded with each other, and openly sold official positions, regarding the official positions of the country as a tool for making money. Under their wanton manipulation, politics became extremely corrupt, the people lived in misery, and social contradictions intensified rapidly. Eventually, it triggered a large-scale Yellow Turban Rebellion, which severely hit the ruling foundation of the Eastern Han dynasty and made it precarious. Gao Lishi, in the Tang dynasty, was deeply favored and trusted by Emperor Xuanzong. He accompanied the emperor for a long time. Although to a certain extent, he was loyal to Emperor Xuanzong and played a role in maintaining the imperial power, he also used the power given by the emperor to interfere in government affairs, accept bribes, and accumulated amazing wealth and power. His mansion was extremely luxurious, with numerous servants, and his power and influence permeated every corner of the imperial court. Wei Zhongxian, in the Ming dynasty, took power to the extreme. He was flattered as the 9,000-year-old, 9000岁, while the emperor was called the 10,000-year-old, 万岁. He frantically cultivated his cronies in the imperial court, suppressed dissidents, and almost monopolized all the political power of the Ming dynasty. Under his rule, the politics of the Ming dynasty fell into an extremely dark abyss, social unrest prevailed, and the common people suffered a great deal. However, not all eunuchs were sinners in history. Zheng He, in the Ming dynasty, as an outstanding representative of eunuchs, achieved a great feat of navigation that attracted worldwide attention. He led a huge fleet to make 7 voyages to the western seas, and his footprints spread across various countries in Asia and Africa. His navigation activities left a glorious chapter in the history of world navigation and became a legendary story in Chinese history. In modern times, the eunuch system in China gradually declined. In the late Qing dynasty, Western powers broke China's original closed-door policy with their advanced ships and powerful guns. Western advanced democratic ideas poured into China like a tide, posing an unprecedented huge impact on the traditional feudal autocratic system. As a byproduct of the feudal autocratic system, the eunuch system could hardly survive in this trend of the times. In 1924, when Puyi, the last emperor of China, was expelled from the palace, a large number of eunuchs also left the Forbidden City. The fates of these last batch of eunuchs varied. Some, with the wealth they had accumulated in the palace over the years, lived a relatively stable life, while others, due to their long-term stay in the palace, lacked the skills to survive independently in society. Without the shelter of the palace, they fell into extremely difficult situations and could only barely make a living by begging or doing some simple manual labor. This is the end of today's program. What other aspects of Chinese history make you curious? Please let me know in the comments. See you in the next program.